Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am creating this cute little Santa's Village platform pop-up for Christmas. I'm using a bunch of products from different companies, so I'll go through what I'm using. First of all, I have the Heffy Doodle Santa's Village stamp set and the coordinating dies. I got these recently as part of the Heffy Doodle Mega Day bundle deal. So I have gone ahead and coloured and cut out all of my images and they're all set to go. So I've used Santa's workshop, I've got Santa himself and a little elf, I've got a few trees and I've got the North Pole there. I am using this Doodle Bug 6x6 paper pad. It's called Let It Snow and I'm using this blue ginghamy colour. And I have gone ahead and cut my pieces out for my platform pop-up using the Lawn Fawn platform pop-up die. So I love this paper, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful on the inside as well, but I decided that inside piece was a bit too busy for what I wanted today. So I've gone ahead with the blue ginghamy colour, which is kind of like an aqua blue. And what I'm doing is just folding along the score lines and just reinforcing those folds to make sure they're nice and crisp. And I will do that for all of them. Eventually. And what I do with these pieces, I like to make sure that the tops, where the scallop is kind of lining up so it's nice and neat and level. Sometimes it can go a little bit skew-iff, so I just try and double check that as I'm folding, and then before I reinforce the fold I make sure that's all lined up nicely. Once all the folding is done, I will bring out some 1/4 inch double-sided tape, and I'm just going to add that tape to each of the tabs. So there's one there on the short side and then one here on the longer side, and that's the only place that you need the double-sided tape for now, which is quite good. So off camera I will go ahead and do the same with the other piece. Once that is done, I take the T pieces. I've cut 3. You can cut as few or as many as you want. Well, I say as many as you want. You can have a maximum of 3, but if you only wanted 2, you could definitely have 2. I'm using 3 today. So with 2 of them, I fold along the score lines and add some double-sided tape. For the third one, I just cut off that little tab piece, and I'm just attaching double-sided tape to the kind of thick part of the T there. Once that's done, it's time to start assembling my box, and these are really easy to put together. So you insert the T piece, you remove the backing paper from the little tab on the T piece, you make sure it's all lined up and you fold it up and attach that bit down. Then you fold the long piece at the top where the scallops are and attach that one down. Now at this point, I like to take my double-sided tape, and to the very top, the very thinnest part of that T, I like to go ahead and add some double-sided tape. I'm using 1/16 inch double-sided tape for this part, and I'm attaching down my little hill piece. I've cut my hill piece from some Lawn Fawn Pixie Dust cardstock, so it's nice and sparkly and it's going to look like freshly fallen snow, hopefully. At least that's what I'm going for. So once I've done the same for both sides, I'm going to attach that hill piece down. So what I'm doing there is just lining it up to check that I put the hill piece on the correct side. So you want the hill pieces all facing the same way, and you don't want to have one kind of facing backwards and one facing forwards because it would be a bit confusing. You could, of course, double side these, so you could put a hill piece on both sides so that you can look at it from either the front or the back and it will look fine. I'm not doing that today, I'm just doing it one-sided, if that makes sense. So I'm just making sure they're all facing the same way. Then I will go ahead and attach that middle T piece, the one that we cut the tab off from, and I'm just going to line that up in the middle of one of the sides of the platform pop-up, attach a little hill piece, and I'm ready to go. So once that's done, I'll bring back out my 1/4 inch double-sided tape and add that to that kind of center part. Once I've done that, I will attach the 2 sides together, lining it up carefully so it's all nice and even. And then I'm just going to attach those kind of little tab pieces at the side, just remove the backing paper from the double-sided tape and attach it down. And that is my little pop-up platform complete, or platform pop-up I should say. Once that's done, it's just a case of adding all of my images. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the little smoke to the chimney of Santa's workshop. So just a tiny dab of liquid glue to do that. And to attach my pieces in, I'm using a mixture of liquid glue and that double-sided tape. So the liquid glue I will use when I'm attaching the images to the back of that snowy hill piece. And I will use the double-sided tape when I'm attaching it to the front. The reason being that glue doesn't stick particularly well to the front of that pixie dust cardstock. Because it's got the kind of sparkly glitter effect on the front, the glue doesn't work, so I need to use double-sided tape. So you'll see here I'm adding double-sided tape just to the very lower part of Santa here, just to make sure he's going to fit nicely onto that little snowbank. And I'll do the same with my little elf. They're going to be in the foreground. So I've put Santa's workshop right in the back, the North Pole sign right in the middle, and then Santa and his elf at the front there. And then it's just a case of attaching in my trees, trying to figure out where best to put them. So I'm going to put this one at the back there, tucked in behind the snowbank, so I can use liquid glue for that one. And then I'm going to figure out where to put these next two. So I have a smaller one and another larger one. So for my little smaller one, I'm going to put him just in front of the larger tree there on the back hill, just to kind of create a nice little scene. And then this other larger one, I'm probably going to put, I'm just trying to play around with it, figuring out where it's going to go. And I'm going to use liquid glue here and stick it in the middle, just beside that North Pole sign. It's going to be a little bit covered up, but it's just kind of to add a little bit more depth of dimension. Now I've taken out this stamp set from Fawn. So this is the Joy to All stamp set, and there's a sentiment in it that reads Season's Greetings. It's a bit long to fit on my front piece, so I've cut it in half. I know that can be a little bit scary, but it works fine, and you can always put it back together long ways to use whenever you want. You can also stack it like I'm using here. So this little piece comes from the platform pop-up die, and it's the piece that's designed to go at the front of the card. So I'm using that as the place to put my sentiment. Now, I haven't used this stamp before, so I'm just using my fingers to rub over it a little bit, remove any of the excess kind of filmy stuff that can be on it sometimes, and I'm stamping that down in some Fawn chili pepper ink. Once that's done, I decided I wanted to put a little bit more in it. So I've got this Furry and Bright stamp set, which has these little snowflakes. And I've pulled one of those little snowflakes out, and I'm using the Fawn Moonstone ink this time, just to add 4 little snowflakes around my sentiment. I was trying to decide where to put them. I think I probably should have just put them in the 4 corners, but I ended up putting this one a little bit higher. I think it's okay. You probably didn't need to add that, but I just felt like it was a little bit of something extra. So I'm placing that sentiment piece onto the front of my platform pop-up, and I've also cut another one just in plain white cardstock again, and I'm going to attach that to the back as a place to write a sentiment to the recipient. It's going to be quite a small area to write on, but I didn't mind that. There is the add-on piece to the platform pop-up die, but I decided I wasn't going to use it today. I was just going to keep these quite simple. And I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to comment. I'd love to hear from you. And please do subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you come back. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.